On the top right is Destiny. You guys may know who he is. He's a YouTuber, Twitch streamer, so on. He's been doing it for like a long, long time. He's really good at debating. So let's give this a listen. He's about to debate this dude on Trump being good. While we listen to this, we're going to play some Breath of the Wild 1, just kind of going through doing whatever. Shouldn't bother you too much. You never played before.
Your argument was that Trump didn't, stamp a bill that would have helped and the Republicans stifled it, and that it was a tactical maneuver to win the election, to have something to run on, which makes sense, right? Like, okay, the border still needs to be saved, whatever. These are the facts, though. He started a deportation campaign of people who illegally entered our country, who have no respect for our culture. It is the quickest, most proven way to destroy a country. And first,
he keeps saying this. This is just like a call out to the old Great Replacement conspiracy that's existed honestly for like at least 100 years, but well, I'm sorry, at least 150 years, since 1902, but more likely it's existed for thousands, and it just keeps getting recycled. But it was actually put pen to paper as early as 1902 at least.
Thing that the Biden administration did was stop the mass deportations. Now Kamala is on record multiple times advocating for mass amnesty. So the question is, all the people that broke the law, that came in here, that have no respect for American culture, that are mooching off of us, do you think it is a...
He's conflating a bunch of things. Look, the people that came here are by and large really productive members of society and have contributed to like the bottom half of our economy in incredible ways. And if we removed them from the economy, it would only end badly for the United States.
All that came in here that have no respect for American culture, that are mooching off of us, do you think it is a good or policy to give them tax-funded health care when Americans can't even pay for
Never heard of that before. Don't know what he's talking about.
Groceries right now, and to quit the deportation of the illegal immigrants, and then to try to even allow them to vote? Do you support those policies, which are Kamala's policies? That's the question.
I don't support illegal immigration. That's why it's illegal. I think that we should figure out what to do with illegal immigrants that are here. However, I've heard for over a decade from conservatives that it was going to be illegal immigrants that would destroy the country. I've heard that it was going to be Muslims. I've heard that it was going to be Mexicans. I've heard that it was going to be MS-13 gangs.
That's fantastic. Yeah, point out all of the modern examples of this falling flat. I remember forever ago, I should have saved this at the time. There was this video I saw on YouTube. This is maybe before I was even on YouTube. I don't know. I remember watching this video of this guy running these calculations, these mathematical calculations that proved that Muslims were going to control the United States by the year 2023 or something like that. Again, this is like 10 years before. He did like a 10-year projection or whatever, and it was an embarrassment. God, I wish I had that today.
But
oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. They literally do the most demanding and hardest jobs. Yeah, and I agreed. And jobs that no one else wants to do. And they get paid a lot less because they're undocumented sometimes. If we documented them, maybe those jobs would go to American citizens instead. I mean, just, following the logical extension of Republicans' argument here.
When January 6th rolled around, it was conservatives led by an insurrectionist president who was trying to coup the government, who was trying to entrench his power, who was trying to abuse government at every single level in order to do it. I didn't see Mexicans do that. I didn't see Muslims do that.
Deflection. So you are saying that you are against illegal...
That wasn't a deflection. What's he talking about?
Legal immigration. So then are you saying that if someone is able to break the law successfully and get in here, then they're good? As long as they're able to break the law without being caught initially, then they should be allowed to stay in here, been given mass amnesty and citizenship, and then they shouldn't be deported? Is that your argument? Do you support that?
I think as a policy, sure. How is it logical? Because deporting, it's the only way to deal with the illegal immigrants that are already here. The idea of deporting 11, 10, 12, 13 million illegal immigrants, however they're here, is completely and totally fantastical. The only reason people say that is because they know it'll never happen, so they never have to actually pass a real policy to deal with what's going on here.
Totally true.
A much more sensible thing would be to provide some kind of road to at least like residency for people that are nonviolent offenders. If you've got people here that they're willing to work, why the fuck would you do some mass deportation campaign when unemployment is already as low as it is, when they're already contributors to the economy?
It's irrelevant. Let's just pretend for a second that they didn't. It would destroy the country. Even if they did, it'd destroy the country if we deported a whole bunch of people, like 10 million people or something tomorrow. By the way, people that cannot vote, people that are legally not allowed to vote anyway. I don't get, like, the line of logic here. Is it just because you hate brown people or something? Like, what's the deal? I honestly don't see another reason.
fine, I guess. So did all the people on January 6th.
You just said it was. You said it was unacceptable, and you don't agree with illegal immigration. Now you're saying, well, as long as they break the law and get away with it, then we should keep them here. And they were already deporting people, and the Biden administration halted deportation.
Yeah. So Destiny's about to debunk this, so I'll just let him debunk what this guy says, I believe. But yeah, that's just like a complete fabrication. It's a complete misrepresentation of everything. Of course, that's all this guy comes with.
Breaking the law and getting away with it. What you said about Trump when you said the guardrails held, when you said that the system ended up saving it.
That's a deflection right there. That would be a deflection.
So that things didn't happen. I didn't say that they should necessarily get away with it. If you want to fine them, that's fine. I just don't think deportation is the correct choice. I think it's worse for them and it's worse for us. And it's worse for Mexico.
How's it worse for us?
Because every single study that's ever come out looking at the economic productivity of illegal immigrants generally points to them being like very productive people. Obviously, most of them come here to work. So workers are like one of your best productive inputs to your economy. And
yeah, how does that bad for people is the question. It's not.
Fiscal impacts on illegal immigrants.
Sorry, let me rephrase. How is immigration bad for the United States? It's not.
So workers are like one of your best productive inputs to your economy, and fiscal impacts on illegal immigrants, believe it or not, tend to also be positive because they're usually.
So you do support mass amnesty for illegal immigrants, and you support the halting of the deportation.
I do personally, but that would probably be an optical lose for Destiny if he said that. So he's going to take a much lighter position here. I think that deporting mass numbers of people would be absolutely ridiculous and insane. And also, I looked up this whole thing about health care coverage for immigrants. This is on NPR. More states extend health coverage to immigrants even as issue inflames Republicans. December 29th, 2023. A growing number of states, remember his claim. He claimed that illegal immigrants, undocumented, people who just crossed over the border and are just coming over here to like break laws and steal shit. Those people are being given free health insurance, right? Let's see if that represents what this says. A growing number of states are opening taxpayer-funded health insurance programs to immigrants, including those living in the U.S. without authorization, even as Republicans assail President Joe Biden over a dramatic increase in illegal crossings of the southern border. 11 states and Washington, D.C. together provide full health insurance coverage to more than 1 million low-income immigrants, regardless of their legal status. Wow, really? That surprises the hell out of me. So I guess it gives them Medicaid? Is that what it is? Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, if that's true, it doesn't seem to be very widespread. 11 out of 50 states? What's the rate on that? And how big are the states? What's the population? It said 1 million immigrants, right? There are more than 10 million people living in the U.S. without authorization. Yeah, 1 million low-income immigrants. So it's like 10%, basically. It's like 10%. I can see the justification for that, personally, because if they aren't covered by health insurance, we're going to end up paying that bill anyway by having higher rates at hospitals. You know how they charge like $30 for an aspirin? It's because 29 people don't pay for that aspirin, so each aspirin costs $30 instead of one. For example, hospital rates go up dramatically when people don't pay the bill or when they can't for one reason or another or whatever. So the point is that if there were immigrants draining the system and it's not like being accounted for, we're paying that anyway. In fact, we're probably paying even more if we didn't cover them with medical insurance. But anyway, like I said, it's only 10% of them. I had Medicaid when I was, destitute, I guess you could say. Medicaid it used to be really good. Now it's complete trash, unfortunately. It used to cover all kinds of stuff. And I remember the intake process was like really stringent, and they dug your entire life out. They tore it apart. I had my kid on Medicaid with me, but I was separated from the kid's mom, and the Medicaid people made me go after her for child support, or they wouldn't give me this stuff. They wouldn't give me these benefits that I needed. It's crazy. They make you sue the person for child support when she had even less than I did. Anyway, I'm on Medicaid, applied online, was immediately accepted. It's great. Coverage has gotten more, not less over the years. Okay, wow, that's fantastic. I had Medicaid as recently as 2018. Yeah, I think it was as recently as 2018 I had it. Not that long ago, obviously. I'm just trying to think. Yeah. I just like in West Virginia. In fact, I know that this is still how it is because I know people that are still on Medicaid in West Virginia. You have to go into the office and let them tear your life apart. It's not good. But again, that's probably not one of the 11 states that allows it.
I don't know if I would say mass amnesty. I think that having
That's
a
what she
reasonable
said.
I don't think anybody is for mass amnesty. That's a very one-dimensional way of looking at that problem. I think that if you want to solve the issue with having undocumented people in your country, you probably have to put them on some kind of reasonable road to at least residency. It doesn't have to be citizenship, but at least residency.
Yeah, roads.
Yeah, green card.
South. The road south.
Wow, that hard-hitting debate tactic by this guy. A road south. Dude just opens his mouth and talks, doesn't he?
Back home.
How's that worked out for the Republican Party for the last 20 years? Was Bush able to do it? Was Trump able to do it?
No, almost. Yeah, no. All politicians just say they're going to do stuff and don't do it. That's
Oh, is he saying that Donald Trump is worthless then?
a different conversation. The point that we're talking about.
Okay, well, wait. Then Trump tried to do it and he wasn't able to. Who was the biggest deporter of all time? It was Obama. So why wouldn't I choose his VP or his VP's VP? Biden would have a much better time doing it than Trump would.
They're openly stating they halted deportation as soon as they got in the office. That argument makes no sense. Obama, because his VP, well, he's not doing the same thing.
Yeah, he's pretending that Biden didn't deport anybody. That's just not true at all. I think they halted Trump's program, but instituted their own program afterward.
Halted deportation. First thing they did. And they're now saying they want mass amnesty and citizenship. And now they're
Who is they? Are they in the room with us right now? Who's he talking about?
trying to let them vote. So basically, it's this simple. This actually is the whole debate. That is no longer America. America's not even under the control of Americans. It's other people going to come in here that don't respect my culture, can't even speak this language half the time. Half of them actually are criminals. People, it is not.
You know, most people that are in the United States that are undocumented, it's refugees. It's people who've come from war-torn areas and had nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. And a lot of those war-torn areas that they came from are war-torn because of the United States, because of the, because of the oil companies trying to take control of this or that or whatever. The United States has a humanitarian corridor at the border that allows, it's a UN corridor that allows refugees in to apply for asylum status. That corridor must exist. That's why the border is quote unquote porous. That's why there's so many holes in it, if you will. It's just a humanitarian hole. That was somebody's nickname in high school, right? Humanitarian hole. Anyway, these people are complaining about the most vulnerable among us being in the United States. And it's just like wrong, straight up wrong.
Not some Trump talking point or Republican talking point that people get released from jail and come here. That's a real thing. People are coming here with no respect for our culture, trying to change it to where they came from, getting free health care.
What makes him think that they don't respect our culture? What makes him think that, and what culture? We're like a melting pot. There's so many different people from different backgrounds in the United States. I assume what he means is my culture. And when he says my culture, I have to take that to mean like, what? Like white supremacist culture? Like, how else am I supposed to read this? I don't know.
And we're just going to sit back and be like, oh, well, let's just give them citizenship and let them vote in our election. That is
That's fabricated. That's not real.
insane. That is basically the quickest way to destroy a country.
God, he keeps saying this. It's just fake.
It's literally happening in Europe right now, right?
I don't know what European immigration and American immigration have absolutely nothing to do with each other.
And Destiny should really hammer on this. It's not happening in the United States.
I'm pretty sure Biden is on track to have more people deported than Trump did. Trump was president for 4 years. He didn't get rid of the illegal immigrants. Why would you think he's going to do it next time?
What do you mean? They halted the deportation.
You don't think we've deported anybody under Biden? Do you think that's...
Yeah, Destiny's still focused on the last point. I really think he should lean into this factual statement that immigrants are not allowed to vote in federal elections. Never were.
True?
No. The point was that there was an actual system that was currently in place that was building to deport people more and more, and they halted it as soon as they got in. So you agree that illegals should be deported?
I don't, that sentence is too simplistic. Pretty sure Biden had one of the largest deportation years since 2010.
Destiny's on the back foot again.
This was the 12 months after, the year after Title 42 ended. Biden has deported a ton of people. Trump was president for 4 years and he didn't deport as many people as he needed to. So why would you think he's going to do it next time? Nothing you're saying is true. Like everything you're saying is just not true.
Everything I'm saying is true. It's easily verifiable.
What's a verifiable thing?
That she's advocating for mass amnesty and citizenship, and that they immediately halted deportation. And this is what else is also funny is she was rated like the most liberal, like the furthest left out of all senators, right? And so now she hasn't even answered one media question in like, what is it, like the 2 weeks since she's been named, and they're trying to distance her from all.
Wait. Show me. Let's find a thing. Where did Kamala Harris say that she was for mass amnesty?
He probably shouldn't be going down this road. He's putting himself on the back foot here. He's putting himself in a defensive position, but he's doing. I suppose he's putting himself in a risky position here. Like, it's possible that this dude has some example that's kind of a little bit that could be stretched to mean that, and even if it could be stretched a little bit to mean that, then Destiny loses this exchange.
I saw a video of it earlier. Her saying that that the way forward is that whoever's already here should be integrated into citizenship. And you agree that is going to destroy our country, because if someone knows they can just get here, as long as they break the law well enough to get here, then they're good. Then
they can apply for asylum status. That's a legal requirement.
She also advocates for taxpayer-funded health care for the
just on this first thing. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I even believe that's true. I see a New York Post story. I don't know if this is what you read. Elizabeth Warren said that we need comprehensive immigration reform, which would include a pathway to citizenship. And she said that Kamala Harris will work with Congress to try to get this done. But has Kamala Harris ever said this? Or are you just going by extreme progressive Elizabeth Warren? Has Kamala Harris said that she wants mass amnesty for all illegal immigrants?
The answer is no, she hasn't. But I believe Destiny does this exact strategy later, and he kind of loses the exchange. And a bad exchange could mean losing the whole debate. Like, look at Biden. He had one bad exchange where he couldn't think of a word for like 20 seconds or something, and it was over for him. That meant the end of his presidency. It's so consequential sometimes, like every single exchange.
Yeah. It's either the Biden administration or Kamala directly. And I'll also say this.
Wait. Then why didn't the Biden administration do mass amnesty? Biden has been president for 4 years. Where's the mass amnesty at?
Good question. That's what they said they're going to do.
Then it sounds.
Are you serious?
Like it's not a worry then, right?
Well, I guess the first step would be to stop.
So wait. So if Trump said he was going to fix the border and he didn't, if the Biden administration said they're going to do mass deportations and they didn't, it seems like, oh, okay, I guess I'd just stick with the Biden administration then, or Kamala Harris.
Well, I guess this is the point. They're making promises. I think we both agree that politicians always just say things and make promises, right? And you can almost never really take them at their word.
No, I mean, I think I can take the Democrats at their word. The thing is, Biden never said he was going to do mass amnesty. They never said that. That's why they tried to secure the border. That's why they tried to pass.
He's giving us a truism here. Like, everybody will agree with this very general statement, even though it's not true. It's something everyone takes for granted.
Pass legislation.
Like, politicians lie. Yes, we all know that they lie, but he's stretching that even further into you can't trust anything a politician ever says.
Was going to do mass amnesty. They never said that. That's why they tried to secure the border. That's why they tried to pass legislation to do it. The only people that didn't do it, that stood opposed to it, were Donald Trump. And you said earlier that it was reasonable that he would make America a less safe place. You agree that you said that Donald Trump keeping the border open made sense for his election policy, right? You think that's
no, I'm saying I said your argument made sense. I would never advocate for doing that. I don't know how true it is. You're acting like he directly said it.
He did directly say that. Yes, every single Republican.
Said, let's keep the border open so that I can run on it.
Correct. Yep. That's why Ted Cruz and other people opposed the bill before they even read it. And
that's true. Absolutely. Yep. He did say that.
And there's literally open statement. Langford is on CNN and Fox News complaining about it because it was his bill as a Republican.
Again, like, it's all about confidence here. If Destiny had come into this, he's correct. But if he had any kind of waiver, or he just wasn't sure about his position, or he said, I'm pretty sure that's what it said, I think it was something like that, he would have lost.
bill. Yes.
Okay, well,
McConnell.
if that's true, obviously I disagree with it.
Oh,
But
okay.
this
So
is
you agree that Trump was bad on the border. You agree that Trump was trying to hurt America with illegal immigrants to win an
well,
election?
no, I think that if they stonewall through Congress all the way up until the moment before the election, and then they know that they're just trying to give like a half-ass like remedy to the border because they wanted to do so for the election, it was a tactical maneuver to hold Stonewall till the end. And I don't even know what was on that bill. I heard that it was actually, you said it was a singular issue. I heard that the bill was like not satisfactory.
Oh, so he's coming up with another reason why it's okay for people to. Oh shit! They recognized me. I thought I was safe. He's coming up with another reason why it's okay for Trump to have done what he did, which is like try to get Biden to, or try to get Congress not to work with Biden or anything on the border because it would be politically disadvantageous. And you know what else? Donald Trump recently said he's been in peace talks with Netanyahu, like just the other day. That is so ridiculously illegal if it's true. It's a violation of the Logan Act. You can't negotiate with foreign states on behalf of the United States unless you're like a U.S. representative. And it was passed in 1799 because somebody was trying to do that shit. They were trying to kind of bypass the U.S. government and gain favorable conditions for themselves. I think they're negotiating with France at the time on the United States' behalf. So if Trump really did try to work with Netanyahu, I can't even express how illegal that is. Of course, Trump's not going to face any consequences for it, but
And it was basically an election maneuver on their behalf. So then they were like, no, we're not just going to bail out last minute and take whatever you give us when you've been stonewalling us this whole time. But
To be clear, it wasn't a bailout. It wasn't a last minute.
You're disavowing all of their policies. You're saying
no one. These
mass
aren't real
amnesty.
policies. These aren't real policies. None of what you're saying is real. There is no Democrat. That's why when I debated Prager a week ago and I said, who's for open borders? Who is for any of this stuff? He had no answer because there is nobody that talks about mass amnesty. That's just not true. It's a total
yeah, absolutely agreed. I'm so glad Destiny's going down this road.
fabrication. That's why, again, the Democrats in Congress and Biden all supported a bill to shore up the asylum process and to shore up border security, and Donald Trump destroyed it. This bill was Lankford's bill from the Senate. He was a GOP. This is a Republican guy. He is on Fox News complaining about the fact that the bill got shot down by Donald Trump. Donald Trump told people. McConnell's on record saying it. Ted Cruz is on record saying it. So Donald Trump wanted to keep the border more porous. He wanted more illegal immigrants to come in, and he wanted to hurt the security of this country to keep it open for what, a year to run an election?
Dude, that's what you're saying. And if that's true, I said that I obviously disagree with that. But
yeah, well, that's kind of like the whole thing that his argument is hinged on. You know, this is like ending the debate effectively because this dude is saying that Donald Trump is bad on the border. And this guy's whole argument is that Trump is good because he's good on the border, at least partially. So you admit to losing the debate then, or?
he objectively is the one that went and started building a wall. He objectively started mass deportations. That's a fact. And then Biden came in and stopped the deportations. That's also a fact. And I'm just
like all of this stuff is just made up.
This is I was going to say it's an indefensible position, but actually it's very convenient in a way because Kamal hasn't even stated any of actual policies. So you can just speculate what you think and you can say, oh, that's not it. That's not it. Whenever she's made very clear statements about these things, about how illegal should have a road to citizenship.
This is what the guy's doing right now. Donald Trump has made his positions and beliefs and ideals very clear over the years. He very clearly intended to coup the United States government. I don't see how anybody could disagree with that. Even Ben Shapiro agrees with that. He put out a video right around that time saying that that's what Donald Trump did and it was wrong. Like, everybody recognizes this. He's claiming that Trump didn't do all of these things or didn't believe these things that he absolutely did. And he's claiming that Kamala does believe all of these other things that she doesn't. That maybe she stated like one time, like she wants a mandatory gun buyback program. Like 10 years ago, she said this. And he's using that as the basis for his claim that she's going to try to go door to door and steal everyone's guns. Like, oh my God, it's insane. It's a double standard. And it may be an optical lose if Destiny bothered trying to point that out. So I probably wouldn't bother.
about how this side or this administration is constantly implied that they should be able to vote once they get an ID, because that's the only requirement. They want them to get IDs.
You can't. That's literally, it's against the law to do that. You can't do that. Congress doesn't allow illegal aliens to vote in states for.
If they get an ID, they can vote.
No, they can't.
Right?
That's not true. That's not how the law works. No, that's
okay. So you also disavow that. You disavow any illegals being able to vote.
Yeah, Destiny's correct. That's not how it works. I looked this up personally. In fact, do I still have those documents open? No, I don't think I do. No, I don't. Anyway, the process goes like this. A visa is acquired that allows you to enter the United States for a period of, I think, up to 6 months, maybe. Then you have to apply for a green card, and a green card gives you like a permanent residence status. You can get basically a taxpayer ID number, a TIN, which is like a social security number. I guess they probably call it a social security card, but it's really just so that you can like work in the United States. And you do pay into Social Security and Medicare. And if you leave before drawing on Medicare and Social Security, like if you don't turn 65 here or whatever, then you get all that money back. You can request all the money back and they'll give it to you. If you do draw it, then it's proportional to how much you paid into it. So it's not like you can just, it's not like 64-year-olds can all move here and then just live on Social Security the rest of their lives. It just isn't how it works at all. Anyway, you have to live here for 5 years, have a permanent residence, and work in the United States for 5 years or so, 3 to 5, I guess. And then you can apply for permanent residence status, like for citizenship. You can apply for citizenship after that period of time. That's generally how it works. And after you get citizenship, then you can vote. So it takes about 7 years to get citizenship. It's a really difficult, arduous process. It's an uphill battle, and you know there isn't really a path to that process if you're here already and undocumented. A lot of these things have to be done in your home country before you arrive here. So anyway, this whole illegals voting thing, it's fictitious. When you get your taxpayer ID number or your Social Security card, you can get an ID, but your green card acts as your ID, really. You can get a driver's license and a green card. When you apply for a driver's license, there's something called the Motor Voter Act, I think, that automatically signs you up to vote, like registers you to vote, except on the driver's license forms that you fill out, you actually have to check a box to register to vote. It doesn't just do it. And that box, it specifically asks you, are you an immigrant? Are you a legal U.S. citizen and everything else? And if you are, then you check that box. If not, you don't check it. And if you do check it and they register you, immigration, like ICE, I think it is, immigration services or whatever, have that on like in their database. They have like a little alert that pops up saying that one of their people or somebody that's not legally allowed to whatever has registered to vote, and you will lose your ability to be a citizen here forever beyond that point. Undocumented immigrants cannot vote because they don't have an ID. They're undocumented. That's what the word means. Documented immigrants can't vote because immigration services have their names on record and are watching for that kind of thing. They cross-check databases. Anyway, immigrants who are legal citizens can vote, and I'm all for that. So just step back one more time here.
If they get an ID, they can vote.
No, they can't.
Right?
That's not true. That's not how the law works. No, that's
okay. So you also disavow that. You disavow any illegals being able to vote.
Like literally everybody disavows that
In our election.
That's the current law. Nobody supports that.
Well, there are people on the left that
no, there are not.
Say
nobody supports that. I can't speak to every random on Twitter, but Kamala Harris doesn't support that. There are no Democratic lawmakers in Congress that support that.
There are literal
no, there aren't
places even in the U.S. right now that you can go get an ID if you're an illegal.
Getting an
oh my God, dude.
ID doesn't mean that you can vote in a federal election.
Yeah, your ID you can't get an ID as an illegal, quote unquote. That would mean that you are legal, right? Or documented at least. An undocumented immigrant doesn't get an ID because then they would be documented. You get a green card, though, is the point here. You get a green card, and that acts as your ID until you get citizenship or a driver's license.
Well, okay, you say that. So I'm just the point.
I do want to. I don't just say that. That's a fact. That's just true. There, you just having an idea doesn't mean that you can vote in an election.
Not supposed to be able. I agree. You're not supposed to be able to vote. So I just want to make sure we agree. If
Wait, whoa, that sounded like a concession to me. He's saying he agrees now with what Destiny was saying. He agrees that he was wrong in that whole equation. Destiny's just going to let this concession pass by.
if so let's say Elizabeth Warren's wrong, and when she says that Kamala's going to help with the amnesty, she's wrong. And whenever they allude to the idea that we shouldn't be deporting it and their actions speak for themselves, they stopped the deportation that was in place, right? That somehow doesn't matter. You're saying no, it doesn't matter. So then we agree that if they're not going to deport the illegals, then that would be a detriment to our country. And if Trump promises to come in and deport the illegals, then that would be a win for the Trump side.
Well, I mean, Trump had already promised to deport undocumented immigrants, first of all. Second, that would be bad if he did that. And third, he didn't do it when he had the opportunity. So this is all just fictitious nonsense. This is wish casting.
Right.
Trump already lost on immigration. He lost on the 4 years that he was here. He didn't get the wall built. He didn't even get joint approval from Congress to build the wall. That's why he had to use executive order in the military to try to build a little bit of it. He didn't get the wall built. He didn't manage to deport as many people as he promised. He was saved in his last year because he had COVID, so he could rely on Title 42 to basically block the border. That's the only reason his numbers were as good as
Democrats
they were.
stonewalled the wall. Everyone knows that.
It doesn't matter. Well, why if you can blame Democrats for everything, but the whole point of a president is you're supposed to be able to come together. If you want to talk about stonewalling, then what you would say is McConnell, during Obama's 8 years in office, literally said, we are going to block every single possible thing that Obama tries to do. That's what.
And then he stonewalled Obama's Supreme Court pick for like a year. Scalia died in office as a Supreme Court justice, and McConnell kept that spot open for a year. That's crazy. Also, the Republicans controlled the House, the Senate, and the presidency in 2016. I think from 2016 to 2018, I believe from 2018 onward, Democrats controlled at least one of those two things, the Senate and the House. But 2016 to 2018 is 100% Trump's fault. 100%. It's because Republicans realized how ridiculous and stupid it was for Trump to say the things that he was saying, and completely unreasonable.
McConnell said. That's why we have a 6-3 Supreme Court. That's fine if you do, but that's why we have a 6-3 Supreme Court. The idea that Democrats are stonewalling everything that Trump wants to do,
I didn't say that.
Republicans had a majority in the Senate and the House. Donald Trump couldn't get his party aligned on anything because he's a bad leader. And the idea that deportation stopped under Biden is also just not true. You can go and read anything by Cato. Migration policy, quote, in the 12 months after Title 42 ended, the Biden administration ramped up deportations under the standard U.S. immigration framework, Title 8, and removed or returned 775,000 unauthorized migrants, more than in any previous fiscal year since 2010. So the idea that deportation stopped is just not true. You're just making it up.
No. It's a fact that they halted the deportation program. One of the first things they did when...
Oh, so the guy is saying that they halted it, the program that was happening then, but then continued it. He doesn't care if they continued it. He's focusing in on the other thing. Okay, I don't really care if it was halted. It was continued. Like, is he really just unaware of this or what?
Biden got in office. That is a fact. But this is okay. So the point is, basically your argument is, oh, well, you actually think that Democrats are...
Like, I'm taking this for granted. I'm assuming that it's true what he's saying here, and that's always a bad idea with these people. You should never assume what they're saying is true. Never.
Are harder, and Kamala's going to be harder on illegal immigration and be more efficient at stopping it. So then you would, by implication, by default, you're agreeing that if that's not the case, and if she comes out, because she hasn't even stated her policies, she hasn't even answered any questions yet. You have no idea what her policies are. You don't even know her VP or her policies. You don't actually...
Are you kidding me? Yes, we do know the policies. She's a vice president right now.
Know what you're defending.
But my guess would be she's probably going to have similar policies to her president that she was just in office with for 4 years. That'd be my guess. But I mean, she's literally just now the candidate. Hopefully they've got a comprehensive policy platform coming together before the convention. But the reality is in my opinion, they shouldn't even run on policy. Republicans don't run on policy. Conservatives don't care about policy. Trump doesn't even know what policy is. So
yeah, maybe that's a bad idea. They should release policy proposals and make it clear like what the goals are or whatever. But Trump is running on culture war issues. Again, culture wars existed in Germany in the 1930s. This is how people won elections back then. It was crazy. It was everywhere. You could not escape politics, political messaging. It was on every bus bench, on everything, everywhere. There was always some kind of political messaging, some kind of freak people out over immigration or whatever. It was all over the place. And you know who the immigrants were at the time, of course? Jews. They were the immigrants in Germany at the time. Culture wars are divisive, vapid, empty, meaningless, pointless garbage the vast majority of the time.
I mean, like, why should they run on policy? It's all about calling people names and trying to prevent somebody from taking office and try to coup the government. I think is probably
all right. So we covered the illegal immigration, and you disavow the idea of mass amnesty or giving these people citizenship. You disavow illegal immigration. You don't just get a pass once you get in here. You agree that that can destroy our country.
I don't agree to any of that. No, I think
no, that's just nonsense. All of it. Like, I am in favor of amnesty, and I recognize like what he just said is complete bullshit.
the biggest threat to destroying our country right now are probably the anti-American MAGA people who don't believe in like core fundamental American values, don't believe in the Constitution, don't believe in our First Amendment right to freedom of speech or freedom of the press. These are the things that I think represent the biggest threat to America right now. I think the illegal immigrants probably need to be like tracked somehow, but yeah.
The left notoriously is more anti-free speech, although Republicans are starting.
In what way? You can't just say that.
To move that way, disavow all of it. We talk about the Constitution, and we talk about illegal immigration, and that is a big part of it. Obviously, there was no wall. Trump started getting a wall built. He was stonewalled by Congress, etc.
He was stonewalled by his own political party. Are you serious? It was a stupid idea. The vast majority of immigrants do not come into the United States over the wall. They come here legally and overstay their visas. I suppose some people come in over the border or whatever, but there's going to be that humanitarian corridor that's open for refugees. There should be legally, internationally legally. I think there has to be.
Republican Congress. It was a Republican Congress. How is he stonewalled by his own Congress?
He couldn't get all the Republicans to agree, and
that's his fault. Then why is he going to?
I agree. It's his fault.
Get him to agree next time. If he couldn't do it the first time, then why is he going to do it the next time?
The point is. No,
answer that. How is he going to do it next? If he failed last time, when he had Republicans in the House and Senate.
Trying to force a concession.
How is he going to do it next time? Why would you expect him to?
I would imagine surely people on his side would agree that this time they have to get their act together relative. I don't Trump standard, and then you said that you don't even take politicians for what they say to mean anything, but it doesn't even matter.
I think if you look up the source of that quote, I don't think that's what I said or implied. At the most, what I would have said.
Really what you said.
At the most, I don't think so. Considering every other, you failed to source anything else. I don't think this is true. If I said anything, what I probably said is you might not listen to what a politician says and take them like 100% at their word. They could be keying out on other things, but I mean, what politicians say matters. Even if they don't get the policies passed they want, what they say is still like relevant. It gives you an insight into what they're trying to do or who they're trying to appeal to.
Okay, so Trump wants to stop illegal immigration. It's a major threat to any sovereign society, and historically has expedited the collapse of that society throughout all of history.
Damn it, I lost my way. I forgot where the little guy was.
Seem to agree with that. Well, it doesn't really seem that your side does. You couldn't even tell me what Kamala's true claim she's going to do is or whatever, because she hasn't said so. But I think maybe the most important part of all of this, and you brought up the Constitution, is her position on the Second Amendment. And she point blank says that she will use executive action to implement mandatory gun buybacks. Do you support?
Okay, so what he's implying here is that Kamala Harris is going to rule like a dictator to force people to get rid of their guns, to force them to give them to the government or whatever. That's not what she implied. That's not what she said. It's not what she meant. None of that is true. Apparently, what she said was back in 2018 or 2019 when she's running in the primaries, she said basically, I would like a buyback program where people can sell their guns to the government if they so choose, which will reduce the number of guns around. And these buyback programs will they'll be all over the place. So anyway, that was one thing she said. She also said, if Congress can't get it done within the first 100 days, then I will do it by executive action to create this buyback program. Didn't have anything to do with going door to door to take people's guns. That would be absolutely untenable, and she would lose the election by saying such a ridiculous thing. I don't think that she should go door to door getting people's guns. I really don't. I think that is actually a bad idea. So this is just like another example of this dude just like making things up. I don't know what clip he pulled and twisted around to turn it into what he wanted it to be or whatever, but it certainly did not mean what he's saying here. Anyway, tell me what you think about this dude in the comments. This dude is just, he's willing to like lie, just straight up lie to get his goals accomplished and convince people of his position. Just nuts.